Hello there and welcome to the Little Irish Kitchen. This week I'm going to make some soda bread. Now traditionally soda bread is quite few ingredients in it, but for this one we're going to up the nutritional value of the bread by adding some seeds, and I'm going to change the flour over as well, just to mix it up a little bit and make it a little bit more healthy. What you're going to need for this is a bowl to mix everything into. You're going to need a bread loaf tin, and I have preheated the oven at 180 degrees centigrade. I'm going to show you what I'm using as I put it into the bowl. So let's get started. For this recipe, I'm going to use 1.5 cups of spelt flour. Spelt still has gluten in it, but it's a much more easily digestible form of gluten than, say, traditional wholemeal flour. It also is nice and high in fibre. The other flour I'm going to use is buckwheat flour. Now, contrary to the name, buckwheat is actually gluten-free and can be eaten by celiacs. It also is particularly high in minerals, so more nutritious. So they're the two flours I'm using. The next really important thing, which is the main component of bread soda, is the bicarb of soda. So it's bread soda, bicarb of soda, or I think there's other names they call it as well. You just need 1 teaspoon of it. In it goes. Half a teaspoon of salt. You do need the salt, it just brings out the flavour of the whole bread. I always use pink Himalayan salt, just because again, it's healthier than traditional table salt. So half a teaspoon of the salt. Now, traditionally, that's the kind of main component of your bread. But for this, I'm just going to add some more seeds just to make it much healthier. What seeds I've chosen and the ones I like is about 1/4 cup of, now when I say 1/4 cup, it doesn't really matter. You can just take a little handful. It really isn't fussy when you're making bread. So I used about 1/4 cup of sunflower seeds. Actually, before we go on, should really just mix the flour and the bread soda in together. So that's all mixed in, that's fine. 1/4 cup of linseed. Again, really high in fibre, and there's omegas in there as well. And what's great about putting all these seeds in, you don't really notice them hugely, it doesn't take over the taste of the bread, it just gives them a lovely flavour. Again, 1/4 cup of chia seeds. We all know chia seeds and all the different components and nutritional values of chia seeds. So really high in omegas. It's got protein in there and other things. Now, let me put the hemp seed in as well. Again, highly nutritious hemp seed, and I'm using the same, about 1/4 cup. Mixing it all in. And I like to put in some pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds, again, highly nutritious. Great for your digestive system. Really, really nice and tastes really lovely in the bread. Now, the other thing that I put in there that traditionally you wouldn't see people put in is Brewers Yeast. Now, you can get Brewers Yeast from a health food store. It's relatively cheap and it lasts quite long, but what this is your B vitamins. So anyone maybe is a vegetarian who's not getting their B12, it is in the Brewers Yeast. Now for this I use a tablespoon. With Brewers Yeast it's quite a strong flavour. It's kind of like you'll love it or you'll hate it. Kind of like Marmite or something. But I put in a tablespoon. If you want to, you can put more in. It really depends on your taste buds. Next part, that's all our flours, our seeds. We've done our bread soda, which is the important thing. Next is the fluid or the wet, whatever you're putting in. Now, I use 2 cups of whey. Now, whey is very high in protein. I get the whey when I make the cheese. So I'll put a link below on how you can make cheese. And with the leftover whey, you can use it in your bread making. If you don't eat dairy, then you can substitute the whey for almond milk or soy milk or rice milk, whichever you fancy. I really like to use the whey. I think it gives it a nice creamy texture, and also it's nice that I'm not wasting the whey when I've made the cheese. So 2 cups, in we go. Again, with making this bread, it really you can't really go too wrong. As long as you put your teaspoon of bread soda, the rest can be kind of averaged out. It's not an exact science. So I'm going to mix all that in together. Put it into our bread loaf tin. I just use the silicone ones because I find that they're really easy to come out afterwards. Anytime I use just the tin, no matter what I do, even if I grease it or whatever, it still doesn't seem to come out. So I just find the silicone really, really, really easy. In it goes. It should plop in there very easy, slamming things down. Just push it side to side in the container, like so. Bread making is so much fun. So that's everything. Here is our lovely, lovely bread. I am now going to put it into the oven. Like I said earlier, it's 180 degrees centigrade, and I usually put it in for 35 minutes. And I put it in the middle of the oven. Not too high, I don't want the top to burn. Middle of the oven, 35 minutes, 180 degrees. Here we have it, 35 minutes in the oven at 180 degrees centigrade. You can see it's kind of like a golden brown on top. And I'll show you how you know it's cooked. Turn it upside down, flip off the top, and top it. And if it sounds hollow, then it's done. What I like to do then is just wrap it in a towel for about half an hour. Just let it cool a little bit. It's not good to eat bread too hot. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see a video each week, press subscribe, and I will see you again next week for another video. Bye for now.